Hello, babies.
Hey, that's why I took a break at Christmas. I love you guys, but I hang out with you guys more than anybody else. And
that's the reason why you took a break.
You need a recharge. Swear to God, you need a recharge. Man.
Recharge or reach around?
A little bit of both. Little finger action. Boop, boop. Trigger finger.
I
would have inserted a lame Irene joke, but we decided we don't want to put
yes,
those
that
in
company policy. New handbook.
New year, new show.
New handbook.
New year, new us.
Nope.
Fucking wiping his ass with the contract. That's what I'm going to do with the fucking handbook.
Oh, wait. You know what I thought would be good? I thought it would be good if we start Patriots post-mortem to start the night to really get all of our Patriot anger.
To get us anger and then to be angry for the rest of the night? All right.
Frustration out. No, because then it won't take up the entire show that we have some other things to get to. The whole show is just on how bad the Patriots finished their season and what they look like moving forward. So I thought that'd be a good idea. Ray, do you disagree?
No, I agree.
I actually like
why
this
would
idea.
you?
I would never disagree.
Thank you. And thank you, Queen. So what do you say we get the show? What do you say we get the show started with some opening takes? The Simple Minds Sports Show, Patriots Post-Mortem Edition. We'll do some opening takes right off the cups. I know Bill doesn't look at the emails. Why don't you get us started with your fuck. Oh, that was a lot of words just out of me for a long time right there.
Opening take.
I ran out of intelligence. Welcome to the Simple Minds Sports Show. Bill, your opening take.
I have never seen a Patriots team like this not show up in the playoffs. Like usually you're the Patriots and you're the one scoring 5 straight touchdowns to start a game. What happened to this vaunted number 2 defense, the lowest scoring defense in the league? You let Josh Allen shred you. That's it. What a way to lay down on the season and die. 1-3 down the stretch, 1-4 to finish the season. Just embarrassing. It was the most embarrassing game I've seen in a long time from the Patriots. And that includes the Cam fucking Newton error.
Yeah, that was just to bury your head in the sand and not look up until something
like the next one, like the one Cam one is the San Francisco game. That was probably one of their most embarrassing ones, but that wasn't a playoff game. You know, they scored 7 fucking touchdowns.
Losing to the
in
Jets
a row.
in the playoffs was pretty embarrassing.
Yeah, this was
after beating them 45-10 or whatever 2 weeks before.
Yeah, that Monday night game. Yeah, that one was pretty bad. Yeah, you know what's funny? One of those things popped up in my memories today, and I said, Jesus. My friend told me Jesus wouldn't let the Jets win a playoff game, and it was like, well, Jesus is a cunt.
Wiping his ass with the handbook. Ray, why don't you move on to the opening take? Your opening take, please.
Oh, thank you, Richard. What do the final four AFC teams have in common? They all have all-pro wide receivers: the Chiefs, the Titans, my Cincinnati Bengals, and the Buffalo Bills all have that legit number 1 pass catcher, and that's what the Patriots need to address this offseason. Get Mac a legit number 1 guy. No, none of this garbage Nelson Aguilar, Kendrick Bourne kind of bullshit. Jacoby Myers is not a number 1. You need to go get an all-pro out there and give him the help that he needs, because that's what all these 4 teams have. They have that legit guy that can take over a game when they gets the ball in his hands. So I'd like to see that happen in the offseason, because right now Mac has no weapons, including tight ends.
Yep. Agree with that too. I think it's down on the list, but I agree that he certainly needs a go-to guy. I don't think he's found one yet. Certainly not in between the 20s. I'm going to go macro here. I guess you start with Belichick, but he needs to clean up his shit. And specifically, I'm talking about, the coaching staff, specifically on the defensive side of the ball. It's very easy to point to his son in nepotism and go, this is why it's fucking up. Like, if you just look at the exodus from coaches out of New England over the past, whatever it's been, put your mark on it whenever these guys left, their staff is barren. Name me someone other than Mayo, the Belichicks, and Josh McDaniels. You can't. There's nobody. Chad fucking what's his name on special teams. Just because he sucked, that's why you know his name.
Look at that brain's working right now. He's trying. He's going through the Rolodex in his brain.
No, yeah, I was just looking sure at. We all got the memo.
Fears. We can come up with
nice
some
clothes.
Yeah, we come up with some names, but you understand the point. It's clearly not working. Clearly, there was talent enough on that defense to be one of the top 2 defenses in the league for 13 weeks, and then all of a sudden went poof, and they stopped buying in, and they stopped playing for these guys. So I don't know what it is. Dave Ziegler and his team came in on the draft side of things last year, and wouldn't you know it, you had a couple rookies that participated and produced this year. I don't know if someone needs to step in with Bill and adjust that coaching staff specifically on the defensive side, or if he needs to do it, but it has to happen. Something has to happen because I think a lot of your issues stem from right there.
I'm the man for the job.
Call him up.
You don't even fucking show up half the time on this. You think you're going to show up for the Patriots?
This is the Simple Sports Show. We will be talking about the end of the Patriots season, the post-mortem. What does it look like? What does it look like moving forward? Touch on some of the key areas. Touch on some of the key players. Are they thumbs up, arrows pointed up, arrows pointed down? And what do they look like moving forward? Welcome to the Simple Minds Sports Show.
Yeah, we all look like dickheads. We're all wearing the same thing.
What's new?
Nothing. I like it.
This has like a little bit of one of those penis hoods.
Ooh, that's a good one. I have one of those. I'm not wearing it currently, but I don't have that.
I can go dick hood for the rest of the show. If that makes you feel better, Ray.
I like how the mustache is just fucking showing. That's perfect.
Ray hasn't seen a hood like that since he was 13.
Speaking of hoods, why don't you head down to White Birch Brewing and get yourself the best craft brewing in New Hampshire, Nashua, New Hampshire. Ray, address, please.
460 Amherst Street.
Full of hoods. They got flights, pints. Their beers are kick-ass right now. That's coming from the owner himself, so you know it's good. Head on down to the brewery. If you can't get there, get at your local beer store, wherever you get it. Tell them the Simple Minds boys sent you. White Birch Brewing. See, Bill's firing on all cylinders right now. This once a week thing, you're definitely gonna get the best of the Bill. Probably got 4 months of this, and then he's gonna have to take a year off, and then
there we go. There we go.
Oh man, I love this once a week shit.
10-7 on the season, boys. Losers of 4 of their last 5, 3 of the last 4, including the playoff game. In their last 5 games, maybe he forgot how to do the show now that we only do it once a week. But when I'm talking, shut the fuck up.
Shut the fuck up, Bill.
I forgot how this thing
handbook. Handbook, Bill.
Yeah. It's
fucking wiping his ass.
Don't make us spill the tea on you.
In the last 5 games of the regular season,
what does that mean?
Or I'm sorry, the regular season and the playoff game, the Patriots defense, this is the whatever the nerd analytics, the DVOA is all over the place now. If Ray, if you could read, this is what would be in the articles. Their DVOA, the analytics, they were 32nd in defensive rating the last 5 games of the season, including that Buffalo Bills game. 32nd. How many teams are in the NFL?
Ooh, me. 32.
Ray?
Yes.
Last in the league in the last 5 weeks of the season. They were second in the first 13 weeks. They finished, now this is the macro view, kind of the more classic stats, if you would. They finished second in yards allowed, second in points allowed, third in turnovers, 8th in turnover differential. Obviously, I'm starting defense here. Just your overall take of the defense this year. How much of it was smoke and mirrors? How much of it was coaching down the stretch? What the fuck happened? Are there any bright spots? Just give me your overall view of the defense this year, not just the last 5 weeks, but what made them good the first in those 13 weeks and what happened. Ray, I'll start with you. Or Bill.
Thank you.
Fine. Yep,
no. You said Ray. You said Ray. Matthew Judon in the first 13 weeks was a man possessed, all pro looking, and then comes the injury that I'm thinking happened. I think there was an injury that occurred, and that's what slowed him down because he was a shell of himself the last 5 games of the season. He was looking like defensive player of the year. We were talking about it every week. He was almost leading the league in sacks. He was, I believe, 3rd at one point.
If I may, 13 sacks in 13 weeks. 13 sacks in 12 weeks, 0 in the final 5. Go ahead.
Yeah. But I believe he got hurt. I think something happened. Nothing's come out yet, but I think that was a turning point. The COVID started hitting it. You had Jalen Mills go out. You had some more secondary linebackers getting. Judon had it. Hightower had it. You were losing it. So I think COVID was the other part of the second half of the season with the 5 games that, it took a toll on this whole team. So that's what happened with that defense. I think Judon getting hurt was the biggest factor of the whole thing.
No, I don't think he got hurt. And I'm going to tell you, I think it goes a lot back to coaching. And I think the disconnect on the defense, you have guys listening to, the there's been a lot of talk with Mayo and Steve Belichick, who's the defensive coordinator, who's calling all the shots. You heard Bill kind of allude to it after, the first Buffalo game and kind of some good play calling at the end of the game. But there's a lot of guys still in that defense that's played with Gerard Mayo, McCourty, Hightower, these guys. And, you look at maybe Judon kind of bought into that. He's an older guy. He's 29 years old. He's been in the league for a while. Are you going to buy into a guy that's never played the position, who's never played at football? He's a lacrosse guy
and Daddy's boy
and Steve Belichick. Or are you going to play with the guy that used to run this defense 7 years ago and knows it like the back of his hand? Who are you going to gravitate more to? Judon, yeah, he's the kind of guy, but big pass rusher, 13 sacks, 13 games, but a little bit of the scouting report of him, he free ran a lot. He was getting behind the quarterback, over rushing up the field, not containing the edge. So it's like, those are huge problems, and you saw running backs run right by him. I don't think there was an injury. I just think one guy was telling him one thing, the other guy was telling him the other thing, and he didn't know. He played 22 snaps in that Buffalo game. That's a problem, and I don't think that's injury related. I just think that's play related, and it goes back to Matthew Slater even coming out. There's splinters in the locker room. There was something that came out after that bye. They had the worst week of practice, right? And then Matt called out everybody how bad it was, and then it's been going downhill since. I think it goes back to coaching. I don't think the strong leadership on the coaching side, and now the defense is taking a hit. Daddy's boys calling the shots, and I don't think people are liking it.
Yeah, I think it's too widespread to be one guy, but certainly on the field, the lack of pressure up front absolutely killed him. Absolutely fucking killed him. Whatever the cause was, I don't know. I'm not going to say it wasn't an injury. If it was an injury he did go down with COVID. It wasn't just that he did test positive for COVID. And we've seen
someone who's had COVID, and I'm not a fucking athlete, it took me about 3, I'm feeling normal now to that I'm not tired. That was the worst thing that came with it. I was I had a head cold, and then it was fatigue out my ass.
Let's just take a minute right now, right? Just a moment of silence for the Queen and his struggles.
Thank you.
I just
I thought the breaking news was that Bill's not an athlete. I thought that's where you're going to go with on that one, because that was that took a lot for you to admit to that, Bill, that you're not an athlete.
I used to be.
Yeah.
Does muff diving count as being an athlete?
No, those dink toes will never make you an athlete.
You gotta get certified. Yeah. You gotta watch.
Mister, I couldn't get into the Navy. Shut up, bitch.
Look, whether it was COVID, an injury, or whatever, obviously that was the key turning point on the field. But you also had Jonathan Jones get injured. You traded Stephon Gilmore. Your secondary was your weakest link down the stretch. And when it goes back to that bye week and what happened, I've heard from multiple, just listening to, the broadcasts around, multiple people say their confidence was fake and really high. And when the Colts came out and punched you in the mouth in that first quarter, they found out real quick that they were not the team that they thought they were, and they never rebounded. And that does go back to coaching and leadership and everything else. Because if you can't get your team to come back, to earth and build them back up again, then you're not a great coach.
Go look at listen to Jordan Poyer's pregame speech for Buffalo this weekend. And then he alludes right to that. These guys are talking all that shit. We'll send their fucking nights tonight, blah, blah, blah. It was all their cocky motherfuckers talking, and it was all fake. It was all fake. I alluded to by the Miami game, and I said, actually Saturday night when I was in a drunken rage on Saturday, pissed off at the game, it's this is what we kind of saw more before that winning streak. Did the schedule align, and did the teams that they play at that time, that was it. They played their best games against a shitty schedule, and was it they made strides this year? Yes, right. But you went from the first seed. I think we all didn't agree they were the first seed. It was nice they were getting there, but they were closer to being the 6th seed than they were to where they ended up as the first seed. Does that make sense? They had that 7-game winning streak where they played perfect. They got ahead of teams. They took advantage of a lot of turnovers. And when you beat Buffalo in weird circumstances, right? And that was it. You came out, you got ran over by Indy, and then Buffalo, again, I've alluded to it for weeks now. After that game, they came out and talked disrespect, and they brought it back up for game number 3, right? It's been talked about since that game. They wouldn't even mention the Patriots by name. It was all this shit, and it was a bad matchup. This is the exact reason I wanted Cincinnati. And Ray laughed at me. I wanted Cincinnati from the start. I don't care. It doesn't. Nope. I don't. I disagree. I think it's a better